Hey everybody, Michael Snyder here, Pacific Northwest Weather Watch. Today is July 20th, and right now we're looking at the mid-level water vapor loop. Take a look at the spin in the atmosphere over the Gulf of Alaska and the Pacific Ocean here. This system will be moving towards the Pacific Northwest here. We'll take a look at those details coming up, but some of the models are showing an uptrend in here and some of the precipitation that may impact places west of the Cascades. Again, we'll look at that in more detail here in a moment. This is visible satellite imagery. You can see some smoke moving up across the region here. That's the flat forest fire down here across southwest Oregon, bringing some smoke up into the area. You can also see the marine layer into the Strait of Juan de Fuca, into the southern Puget Sound, down the Oregon coastline here as well. For the most part, though, the big nasty smoke is still across central and northern BC and east of the Rockies here. You can see some smoke across the Rockies of BC here as well, and trying to creep into the Fraser River Gap here. But if you're wondering where that smoke aloft is coming from, and even some of it might be surface-based here across some of the Willamette Valley, it's from that flat fire down there across southwest Oregon. This is the fire weather outlook. Enhanced risk Friday through Monday. Dry conditions. We're going to bring that system through here, kick up the southwest winds, and bring back the potential for some fire spread here to much of the area, especially east of the mountain ranges. And this is issued this morning. National Weather Service Spokane is always on top of things. This is looking at the high resolution rapid refresh, and this is looking at all columns of the atmosphere, vertically integrated smoke. And if we put that into motion, you can clearly see the model's got a pretty good handle of that smoke moving up across the area, and you can see the generation point of much of that smoke there across southwest Oregon. This is the station I've been testing at home, all solar powered, all wireless, nice thermometer, very accurate. Ultrasonic anemometer as well is very accurate. Nice affordable home weather station. Click on the link down below there to save 10% off on that station if you want one at your home. This is looking at SeaTac, 89 degrees, 11 degrees above average. Still no precip so far this month, but we do have a little bit of sign of life here as we go through the next few days. Again, we'll take a look at that here in some detail. Very exceedingly rare to get precipitation this time of year across Pacific Northwest, at least west of the Cascades for the Seattle and Portland metros. Anyway, we'll take a look at that in some more detail here. Now, taking a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, Pacific Northwest is the only one at average or below here in the 6 to 10 day period. You can clearly see the high probabilities here across much of the lower 48. This is looking at 500 millibars, and this is the reason why. You can see the trough here hanging out across much of the Gulf of Alaska, and that has its eyes on us, and will bring some nice onshore flow and keep us seasonable here across much of the region as this ridge dominates much of the lower 48 here. This would be shown about Tuesday night here. You can kind of see the gradient and the onshore flow that would be associated with that troughing. This is looking at 10,000 feet, and this goes out through Sunday afternoon. You can clearly see that cold air there kind of moving in across the region here, keeping us cool versus the big ridge here across much of the Intermountain West. This goes out 90 hours on last night's European run. And here we go, a little bit closer look. So watch what happens. I'll back this up and we'll put this into motion. You can see the above average temperatures as we go through the day to day. Then the trough starts to get a little bit closer here. It's going to hang on a bit longer the further east you are. And then as you get into Sunday morning, we're going to start to bring in that cooler air aloft, and this trough will make its presence felt, especially as you go into the early portions of next week, as you can see the return of that cooler air aloft at about 5,000 feet. This would be about Tuesday night shown here. Now we're taking a look here at 6 hour precip, and put this into motion, and you can see a couple weak systems trying to brush through Vancouver Island. Then as we go through Monday, kind of a frontal system showing up a little bit here. Not a big precipitation maker, but we've got a couple rounds of it going there. As we go through the day Tuesday, might still ring out a little bit of precip here. We'll see how this goes. Further south you go, the lower your odds are going to be here. And you can see British Columbia kind of favored there, but some of the European ensemble members are showing potential here for SeaTac and for the Washington coastline, maybe even the Northwest Oregon coast as well. This is looking at the NAM 12 km versus the European, and we'll put this into motion. I'm just going to show you there is pretty good model agreement between the European and the NAM here with this trough moving in. In fact, the NAM is even a little bit quicker here, so kind of interesting. This would be about Sunday morning, about 84 hours out on the NAM 12 km. So yeah, kind of interesting here, something to watch. Very rare to get measurable precip here as we get into the later portions of July here, especially west of the Cascades for Seattle or Portland. Now this is looking at Everett. You can see that some of the ensemble members have that measurable precip here, and about 1/10 of an inch is the mean. Now check out Seattle. We showed this yesterday here, and this was on the 18th, the afternoon run on the 18th, and you can see only 3 ensemble members had any precip. But yesterday morning, check it out. You can see the uptrend a little bit here, more of the ensemble members showing, and then yesterday afternoon's run here, I should say, shows many more ensemble members showing some measurable precip. The control still not fully on board here, but it is definitely an uptrend here that's worth watching. We still have a few days to look at it. As you can see, BC. This is not coming up in the next day or two. This is all the way out through about July 25th coming. So we'll watch this one, something to get a little bit excited about, but still technically just a fantasy rainfall forecast at this time for the Seattle Metro. Vancouver is going to have better chances the further you go north. Look at that, 3/10 of an inch there. The mean is right around 3/10 of an inch as well. And you can see plenty of ensemble members do agree on some precipitation reaching Vancouver, BC. This is Spokane Metro here. Not much help, as you can see, with that system, although they will feel the cool down. This is Bellingham. Check it out. You can see the ensemble members kind of pointing at some measurable precip here. The control not fully on board, but we'll see how that trends over the next day or two. This is Portland, and again, the further you go south, the lesser your odds are going to be here, only for the ensemble members showing measurable precip for the most part here for Portland. This is Quileute. The Washington coast might get a nice little rainfall out of this as well. 2/10 of an inch of rain would be quite nice to have at this point in July, and you can see the ensemble agreement here as well. This is Spokane. Check it out. As we go through the early portions here, we're going to kick up those breezy winds, but we are going to cool things down a bit here as well, probably dropping temperatures below average here for this portion of the period before potential warm up through the extended again. But we've got some hot days to go here, or at least pretty warm days here to go as we go through Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday before we start that cool down on Monday here for Spokane. This is looking at the daily 2-meter max temperature on the National Blend of Models. This would be for today, another very warm day across much of the region. Look at eastern Washington pushing 100 degrees from many locations here as well. Nice and warm up towards Vancouver, BC, eastern portions of Vancouver Island. A little bit of a cool down tomorrow for Seattle maybe. It's still up towards 90 for the Willamette Valley, pushing 100 again east. And there's Saturday, Sunday, still pretty warm here, above average across the Seattle Metro here, even if just slightly so. But by Monday, you can see we drop below average here as that system starts to bring its onshore flow, and then potentially bouncing back through next week here. So we'll watch that. We have a few days to look to see what the models do with that precipitation trend, and then we'll actually see what happens eventually here as we go through early next week. This is the 6 to 10 day precipitation probability outlook. They're picking up on that system here as it rolls through the areas here. Again, it's kind of a fantasy forecast right now. Don't get too excited just yet, but it might be something to look forward to. 8 to 14 day, kind of a little bit of below average signal here across much of the Pacific Northwest. And again here with that 6 to 10 day temperature probability outlook, we'll see how this trends. Not too strong of a signal even really with that trough moving through, but we'll see how this goes. This is 8 to 14 day temperature probability outlook here as well. Now, looking at that 7-day significant fire potential, you can see the brown is elevated. So when you go from the yellow to the brown, you're bringing up the risk a little bit here. And as you go on in through this weekend here, we're going to start to kick up some of those southwesterly winds across some of the region here. And you can see some of the brown returning there. But the good news is there's no high-risk red showing up here for now. This was issued yesterday as well. Now, looking at the El Nino here, I've been talking about this the last couple days. You can see Nino 3.4 is right there across the equatorial Pacific, kind of south and southeast of the Hawaiian Islands. There'd be South America, Australia, and Mexico here. So that's where we measure ENSO, the El Nino Southern Oscillation. That's where we measure the water temperatures. And you can see how we were in La Nina last year. We've climbed out of that, and now we are technically in moderate El Nino conditions. They're 1.1 above average for that location across Pacific Ocean here. So something to watch here as we go through the next few months. We'll see how this El Nino goes, and there's still the potential for quite a strong El Nino coming up here, and we'll just kind of see the trend here over the next few months. And then we'll watch, of course, as we get towards the fall and winter months, we're going to be watching systems come in one by one, and we'll see what kind of effect El Nino eventually has on us as we go through the fall, winter, and spring of next year. But yeah, nice system out here, going to keep us probably closer to average, and especially compared to much of the USA here. So Mother Nature's AC will be kicking in at times here over the next few days, but we have a few warm days to go before we get there on in through next week. And cross your fingers for maybe a little bit of measurable precip for Seattle here. Better chances along the coast, and further north you go through southwest BC up into western BC as well. But anyway, yeah, so I hope you guys are liking these videos. Click like and subscribe, and we'll do this again tomorrow, and I'll talk to you guys then.